When Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris to be his running mate on the Democratic presidential ticket, it was a historic choice. She is the first Black woman and the first Asian American to be on a major party's national ticket, and if elected, would be the first woman to serve as president or vice president. This is probably the least surprising selection that Joe Biden could have made. Kamala Harris has really been if not the frontrunner for the vice presidential nomination since she got out of the presidential race and since Joe Biden secured the nomination.
As I said, Joe, when you called me, I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work.
She's seen as sort of the Goldilocks choice, right? Not too far left, not too far to the center. She's experienced, but she's not too old, and she won't overshadow Joe Biden in terms of the experience that each of them have. Kamala Harris grew up mostly in Berkeley, California. Her parents were both immigrants, both academics, and both liberal activists. So she often says that she was raised in an atmosphere of people who were shouting and fighting for change. But when she finished law school and began her own career, she became a prosecutor, which surprised a lot of her liberal friends and family because she was seen as kind of a cop and not necessarily on the side of the victims of the criminal justice system. She became the first Black woman to serve as Attorney General of California before she was elected to the Senate in 2016. Ever since Joe Biden promised that he would put a woman on the ticket, there has been this unusually overt sort of lobbying campaign on behalf of a lot of the most prominent women in the Democratic universe. Of course, the two candidates themselves have a little bit of history from having run against each other for president, and that was not necessarily so warm and fuzzy.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No.
Do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education.
They did later make amends and repair that relationship. But to this day, there are some in Biden's inner circle who still bristle at that attack. The Trump campaign obviously was anticipating that Harris might be the choice. They were out with an attack video immediately once she was announced. They called her phony Kamala, and they picture her with various sort of left-wing boogeymen, right? The Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This attack on Biden, that he somehow represents the radical left, the Trump campaign has had a hard time getting traction with that, in part because Biden ran explicitly to the middle in his presidential campaign. And Harris was in a similar situation. She did embrace some liberal positions, such as Medicare for all, early on, but toward the end of the campaign tried to situate herself more as a unifying force. Kamala Harris is joining the Democratic ticket at a moment when the country seems to be in crisis in so many ways. We are facing this pandemic, which continues to rage out of control. We are facing an unprecedented economic crisis. Most Americans believe that the country is on the wrong track in a really serious way. And of course, we are facing the moment of racial justice protests that have erupted since the killing of George Floyd, but that also have been gaining steam with the Black Lives Matter movement in recent years. So this pick had a lot riding on it for Joe Biden. He needed someone who could reassure voters that he's going to be able to tackle all these crises on day one, but he also needed to signal that he gets it. The desperation so many Americans feel to have a president who seems to feel their pain and who seems to see them no matter what community they come from: women, minorities, immigrants, young people, old people. And so this is Joe Biden's way of saying, I hear you, I see you, and I've chosen a running mate who represents the diversity of this country.